Three teams out on the water, sailing towards the finish line for this double-point scoring leg. Leg 7 of the Volvo Ocean Race set to come to a close. The next boat to come across the finish line is going to be Team Axonobel. Simeon Team Point skipper will be relieved to know that the breeze is starting to be there. Progress is going well for the Dutch team and they look set to take third. Behind them, Turn the Tide on Plastic, out of that light wind bubble and starting to stretch away from the Spanish team of Mafre. Xavi Fernandez is facing the very real possibility of losing the overall lead on the scoreboard. As we can expect, Team Axonobel within the next 24 hours, Turn the Tide on Plastic and Mafre will be finishing in around about 4 days' time. So plenty of miles left to go. We could still see a little bit of an upset on the course. But yesterday, it was the turn of Team Brunel and Dongfeng Race Team, the Dutch boat taking the win in emotional scenes on the finish line in Itajaí. And that is Team Brunel taking the win, leg 7, the most iconic leg in this edition of the Volvo Ocean Race. Certainly the most brutal, the most relentless, the hardest test of any of our teams. And Bauer Becking and Team Brunel have arrived.
Yes, it has been an epic leg. Thank you very much for the congratulations. But I think we're a little sad in our heart, very sad in our heart. We know why. John Fisher's loss sits very deep with us. But of course, sport-wise, we sailed a very nice leg, so we're confident with that.
Second place for Charles Cordrelia through the Southern Ocean, up north to Brazil, and then the finish line in Itajaí. 7,600 miles of some of the biggest tests of any of these sailors have seen. Dongfeng Race Team now can see that all behind them.
It's a fantastic result for us. Of course, we have dreamed about the first one when we saw Brunel, but Brunel did a fantastic leg and I think deserved his first place. I think about John and we can give all the team give some place to him and think about him and his family, and here we are.
Well, the thoughts of all our finishers with the friends and family of John Fisher, who was sadly lost at sea from Sun Hun Kai Scallywag earlier on in the leg. But we still have 3 boats out in the water. We still have sailors working hard to get safely back to shore. And we spoke to a couple of those teams. Turn the Tide on Plastic and Mafre are locked into a little bit of a battle. At the moment, it's certainly going the way of Turn the Tide on Plastic. But I caught up with Lucas Chapman on board, as well as Mafre skipper Xavi Fernandez. And I asked Lucas Chapman about how that mast repair was going and how things were looking so far.
Yeah, we're monitoring the situation pretty closely, but so far all's been okay and we've been able to continue sailing. Yeah, there was a few hairy moments there where you kind of weren't sure if the thing was going to come down or not, but it's nice to still have it still pointing towards the sky and that we're able to keep sailing, so it's really good.
I guess you saw the footage once the main broke into pieces. I think we didn't have any more choice than stop and try to fix it, and here we are. Now we just lacking a little bit of wind and we will be okay.
Well, this high pressure system that we've been sort of stuck in has been a bit tricky. It kind of keeps moving with us and keeps swallowing us up a little bit. But this morning we've sort of cracked into a little bit more pressure and hopefully we can hold this steady breeze to the finish and it'll be a nice sort of reach in. So we should have some consistent wind and some consistent speed finally.
There's not much we can do. Right now we have 1 knot of wind and we're doing 0.8, so yeah, we are drifting in the middle of the ocean.
You've got a bit of a battle on with Turn the Tide on Plastic.
Yes, well, obviously it's getting their way because we're so slow and we are pretty much in the other side of the high, so it's going to be tricky.
They always have this amazing ability to come back, so it's definitely not over until we cross the line with them behind us. But it is nice to have a bit of a buffer on them this morning. I think we're sort of over 100 miles in front and we're in some steady breeze now, so we should be able to do it, but you never know with them.
I hate to cast your memory back to Auckland where Mafre managed to catch up with the front runners. Has anybody brought that up at all?
Oh yeah, I think that's playing heavily on the back of our minds. So I really don't want to repeat of that. That kind of broke me. So that's definitely on the back of our minds. But we've just got to keep positive and keep pushing away. And hopefully with this buffer we've got on them, we should be right. But yeah, just got to keep chipping away.
It's going to be tricky 4 days or 4 or 5 days to go, so the only thing we can do is sail as fast as we can towards there, and if they slow down, we catch them. If not, it's gonna be hard. But it's okay. You know, we knew once we restart the race, it would be very tricky for us. Then we had kind of a hope when they had some problems as well, and now they seem to go okay, and they have always been more wind than us, so they are gaining all the skids. So it's very difficult.
I wonder whether you have a message that you want me to pass on.
Well, not a big message, you know. We already overtook them once, and you know it's pretty hard for them, and we will try again. But
they've had a pretty tough race, and it was really sad to see them the way we did at Cape Horn with their mainsail torn. So good on them for getting back into the race and still being able to finish. So good luck to them.
Sporting words from Lucas Chapman. And so far, so good. Turn the Tide on Plastic have broken free of the light patch. And as you can see in a moment from the position report, reactions on board, this is certainly meaning a lot to them.
We were twice as fast as them. They were doing 5 knots and we were doing 10 knots.
Yes! Yes!
Nice. And we are now 99 miles ahead of them.
Oh, good guesses.
We have 660 miles to go. And third place is only 400 miles ahead, okay?
Jubilant scenes on board Turn the Tide on Plastic as they get ever nearer to the finish line. And so far, so good. Stay ahead of the Spanish boat Mafre. Well, the tracker is live. You'll be able to follow the boat mile by mile as they get into the finish line in Irigaray. And we can expect Team Axonabel within the next 24 hours. But Mafre, Turn the Tide on Plastic, they're going to have to wait a little while longer. 3, 4, possibly 5 days of racing left to go for some of these sailors. We'll be with them every step of the way, and we'll see you tomorrow.